From the BZG studio in the Mission Dolores district, right in the heart of San Francisco, it's BZG News with Barrett Courtney.
Thank you so much all the way up in the back. Thank you so much all the way up in the front. And thank you right here. What's up, everybody? My name is Barrett Courtney, and this is BZG News, your last resort for all of your nerdy news reports. This week, we've got a lot of news, and before we get into that, I just have some housekeeping here. First, I want to congratulate Mr. Sean Pitts, who has recently accepted a job at IGN.com. Sean Pitts, close friend of ours, friend of the show, friend of the group, and it's really, really awesome to see someone from our friend group that we have met in the last year because of Kinda Funny sort of make it. And, you know, we've had people in the past like Andy from Rooster Teeth and Brian from NetherRealm. And but it's cool that someone is coming here to San Francisco. So fucking Sean Pitts is going to be right here in the Bay Area, living here, something he's always wanted to do as long as ever since he's wanted to do this like video game stuff. And it's really cool to see his dreams come true. So Sean, if you're watching this, just fucking congratulations to you. And I hope to see you a lot more now that you're going to be in the Bay Area. It's going to be a fun time. And some piece of advice for you: San Francisco's expensive. Prepare your fucking butthole for how expensive San Francisco is. You know that already. You've been here. But for other people, you know, San Francisco is really, really expensive. So just a bit of fair warning for anybody else who's looking to get into the video game industry and is looking at the Bay Area to get into that. And also, we have a special announcement coming up this Sunday, which will go up at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here on YouTube. So look out for that. Some really exciting stuff that we are planning here for BGG. So if you're interested in that at all, I would highly recommend you tune in at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here on YouTube.com/BetaZonaGamers. But anyway, enough about all this house cleaning, housekeeping, and all that shit. Let's get into the nerdy news that you care about. The first thing that we should talk about, and sort of a sad piece of news, I didn't write up the news this week. Usually, whenever you see my computer, that's when, you know, there was a time when I was just too busy and I couldn't write all of the news things themselves down, but I have a list of things that we're going to go to. So the first thing I want to shout out is GameSpot.com writes, new Star Trek actor Anton Yelchin dies at age 27, writes Eddie Mackek. He was 27 years old. GameSpot sister site CNET reported that Yelchin's publicist confirmed he died in a car accident in Los Angeles on June 19th. He was killed, quote, he was killed in a fatal traffic collision early this morning. Really, really sad. I really liked him in the Star Trek movies and also in Terminator Salvation. Was that it? I think it was Terminator Salvation. Or if it wasn't Salvation, it was the one with fucking Batman. Yeah, the Salvation. Thank you, Henry, who's in the audience today. So it's just, even, you know, that Terminator movie was whatever, but I still really liked him. I really liked him as an actor. He always brought like an exciting thing. But I also don't want to just say like, oh, we lost such a great actor. We lost such a great performer. It's like he was a person and he passed away. And that is really upsetting. And our thoughts, all of us here at BZG, our thoughts go out to all of his loved ones and anybody that he has worked with who liked him and had any sort of connection with him on a personal level. Our thoughts go out to you, and we definitely will never forget Anton Yelchin just because of how exciting of an actor he was and how kind he seemed to be. So that is really sad. It seemed, I think his last movie that he filmed was Star Trek Beyond, which comes out next month, and hopefully, or we're sure that he brought as great of a presence as he did in the first two. So if you want to support him and sort of like just remember him in a way as much as you possibly could for an actor, go see the new Star Trek movie that comes out next month, even if you're not into Star Trek, just because we don't know him personally, a lot of us who watch, a lot of you who watch this or whatnot, so it's the most that we could possibly do. So and also, I'm sure loved ones want to keep their distance and don't want to like a lot of like attention right now, but just keep your thoughts towards them and send nice vibes their way, just because it's always tragic when you lose someone. And so weird transition here going into the rest of the nerdy news. We're sticking with GameSpot for the most part today. Eddie Mack also writes, more powerful PS4 Neo will launch this year, report. Sony's new and improved console could debut a year before Microsoft's Project Scorpio. He writes, according to a new report, Sony's more powerful PlayStation 4 Neo will launch before the end of 2016. That means it would arrive well ahead of Microsoft's Project Scorpio. Quote, several sources have indicated, unquote, this information to Eurogamer's Richard Ledbetter. Quote, if that is the case, it'll be interesting to see how developers utilize its resources and whether 4K really is the focus. And we can be equally assured that Microsoft will be watching just as intently as it gears up for its own next-gen rollout, unquote, the report said. This is a really interesting move because, PlayStation 4 Neo, like Sony said a week before E3, like it's not going to be at E3. So from that announcement, we figured, okay, so they're probably gonna delay it. Like we thought it was gonna come out in like October or November, because there's those whole rumors that like developers need to have games that are compatible with Neo and all of this stuff. And it's really interesting to see if they really decide to keep it this year. It doesn't seem like they're going to change much. It might, the reason now that they might have not talked about it at E3 is solely just because they weren't confident on how to talk about it yet. And maybe they really took notes from how Microsoft talked about Project Scorpio, even though it was like only one little sort of teaser, like trailer video for it. They did talk about it really confidently, and they were able to market it really well, even though we haven't even seen the box yet. We know that there's 6 teraflops, and it's going to promote 4K gaming, and it's going to be backward compatible with all Xbox One games and all this stuff. So they might be trying to take the time just to maybe change focus on what the Neo can do. So it's a really interesting idea. It's just interesting that they might be still looking into having this console come out this year. And I'm worried and not worried at the same time. I don't know if, even if Neo is like this really powerful console, or maybe it's not as powerful as the Project Scorpio, which is a lot of the speculation that's going on right now because they decided to not bring it at E3. It'll be interesting to see how well it does, and if it will really affect Sony at all if it does poorly. PS4 is already at 40 million copies, and I think worst case scenario, Neo doesn't do so well, but because of the Neo's release, the regular PS4 will probably drop, and because of that, more people will have an incentive to buy just the base PS4 model, and so the Neo itself might have a bad start and maybe a slow pickup after a while, but I think it might be a good reason, like a good excuse to drop the price of the PS4 and have it go down for a little bit and have more people be on board with this console that almost everybody is on. So it'll be interesting to see like where the Neo will be, and how that will affect Sony if it does really come out this year, and if they're not going to change a lot, because we thought that they didn't want to talk about it at E3 because they're like, oh, we should go back and improve this console. But if it's still coming out this year, they don't have a lot of time to really change a lot about this console. So just some interesting sort of update we don't know if it's really true, but if Richard Ledbetter at Eurogamers to be trusted, several of his sources, which I don't believe he would report this if he thought it was bullshit. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Now, the next piece of news we've got here. Hold on, this page is going really slow because there's a video playing. Still at GameSpot, Fallout 4 PS4 mods have some serious beta issues, right? Eddie Makak. Eddie's fucking just killing it with all of these articles. He knows how to report the fucking news, and he does it constantly. Shout out to Eddie. The subtitle is, the problems right now include no sound file support and a storage cap of 900 MB. Bethesda also warns of memory and performance problems. Continuing on, Fallout 4's mods launch on Xbox One in May and are coming to PlayStation 4 later this month. In advance of the release, Bethesda has pushed out a new update for Fallout 4's PC creation kit that prepares the game for an upcoming mods closed beta test on PS4. PC players can download the latest update to get the ability to upload PS4 mods to Bethesda.net. However, as outlined on the Bethesda website, there are some known issues with PS4 mods to be aware of. The significant sounding problems include sound files not working on PS4 and a mod storage limit of 900 MB. By comparison, Fallout 4 mods on Xbox One have a limit of 2 GB. Another issue is Fallout 4 mods on PS4 may lead to memory and performance issues. For all the known issues, Bethesda said it was working with Sony to find solutions before Fallout 4's mods program is released in full on PS4. It's interesting, like, that it's only 900 MB for like a mod upload. I think that might be one. I don't know if that's actually a problem or if they are doing that on purpose, just so that they don't overload like the mod stuff just in the beta. So that actually might be something that they're like just cautiously sort of doing right now. It's weird that it's out of everything, it's like sound isn't working, and that mods would conflict with memory storage and whatnot. So a little, just be cautious, Fallout 4 players who are playing on PS4 who are excited for these mods. Just be cautious in the first couple of weeks. I think they're really going to try really hard to make sure it's at least running properly and all this stuff eventually in the first couple of weeks. But I would say like hold off for maybe a week, let them work out the kinks and whatnot. And I imagine soon after that, it'll be fine. I'm really excited for the mod system. It'll be my first time sort of using mods because I'm a console player, and this is sort of the first sort of step to bring mods to consoles. So I'm excited to see like what they can do, like certain mods with like making the game itself look prettier and whatnot. So, and that's probably what I would focus on. I wouldn't do like reskins of like, oh, you can make your fucking machines look like Buzz Lightyear and shit. Like, I'm not into that, but like definitely mods that would like make it look like fucking crazy ridiculous and with the art style and whatnot. That's the kind of stuff I would focus on with mods. So right now, the new features and fixes currently for the beta is uploading mods to Bethesda.net requires Fallout 4 ownership via a Steam-linked Bethesda.net account, and the other fix is general optimization and bug fixes. The known issues with PS4 mods right now is PC textures are used, memory and performance issues may occur. We are working with Sony on optimal texture exporting support in a future update, and sound files are currently not supported. PS4 sound format is a proprietary format. We are working with Sony on sound file processing support in a future update, and then PS4 mod storage limit is approximately 900 MB at present. Please do not upload mods larger than 900 MB. We are working with Sony to increase this limit. It sounds like there's a lot of restrictions from Sony's end, and that's the interesting thing of like why it just seems a lot from like their end, and like maybe like just like the limitations of what they can do or what they're allowing right now. It's just really interesting to see like them trying to, it might not even be on purpose. It might just sort of been like what they thought would be enough, and it just seems like a lot of Sony shit that they got to fix. So just as a fair warning, be cautious in the first couple of weeks of PS4 mods releasing. Apparently later this month. I didn't know we were so close. I thought it was going to come in like September or October or something. Moving on with the news, Bryan Cranston, this is still GameSpot, still Eddie Makak, still kicking ass. Bryan Cranston joins new Power Rangers movie as Zordon. Breaking Bad actor Bryan Cranston has joined the Power Rangers reboot. As announced on Twitter, Cranston will play the role as the Power Rangers mentor Zordon. Cranston has a connection to the series as Billy Cranston, aka Blue Ranger, is named after him. He also provided voice work for the TV show's early seasons, according to Comic Book. Yes, he voices like a couple of the villains, I want to say, which is just fucking hilarious to think about. And then also Cranston will appear in the film alongside Elizabeth Banks, who plays the evil Rita Repulsa. She has a new look in the film. Check out her costume here. There's a link there. A lot of speculation that in this version of Power Rangers, Rita Repulsa was originally a Power Ranger because her suit looks like a deformed version of the Power Ranger suit. And what they're sort of doing so far with this series looks really cool. And now that Bryan Cranston is attached, like, I'm fucking down. Like, that new Godzilla movie, like, totally was not up my alley. Bryan Cranston was in it. He was barely in it. But, you know, I still fucking watched that for him. You know, fucking Bryan Cranston is my bae. So, yeah, it just seems like they're doing a lot right now. So, I'm excited. And I hope you are too, for Bryan Cranston being in the Power Rangers movies. They're just pulling a lot of shit that you would not expect from a Power Rangers movie in 2016 or 2017 or whatever. So good for them. Still at GameSpot, still Eddie Macic. Last Eddie Macic piece. I promise I'll stop saying his name, but I'd never want to stop saying his name because he's fucking awesome. Finding Dory breaks animated movie record. He continues on. As expected, Pixar's Finding Dory is a huge hit. The movie is expected to reel in $136.2 million this opening weekend. This was written like about last week. In the U.S., Disney said today, according to Deadline, this is a good for a new opening weekend record for an animated movie. It's also the second best opening ever in the U.S., behind 2015's Jurassic World with $208.8 million. And previous estimates said Finding Dory would make $120 million for its U.S. opening. It's pacing nicely ahead of that. So congrats to that. Congrats to them. I've yet to see it. I really want to see it. The person that I would have seen it with is my lovely girlfriend out there, Alyssa Shimoda, but she's in Hawaii for like the next fucking month. So I by the time she gets back here, it'll probably be out of theater. So I just got to suck it up and go by myself and cry and be sad and stuff. But congrats to the team at Pixar. Finding Dory is reviewing really well. That's really great to see. I was really concerned about like the quality of Pixar sequels, just because didn't they do another sequel recently? Or maybe not. But I mean, like Cars 2 and Cars 3 or whatever, and a lot of like the recent Pixar movies aren't like great or memorable. Like I love Inside Out, but I don't think it like. I feel like in a couple of years, like people are easily gonna forget about Inside Out just because that story is great, but it's not as like it's not like a pinnacle of like Pixar like stories and characters like Toy Story or like Incredibles or Finding Nemo. Finding Nemo is like the most popular out of them, which I find insane. But it's good to see that they were able to hit a sequel and do it well and whatnot. So congrats to them. I'm excited to see it. What are your thoughts on it? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Convince me to go see this movie by myself. Convince me to suck up my pride, people. And finally, for the last piece of news, over at IGN, Alex Osborne writes, Zelda producer on voice acting and sci-fi elements in Breath of the Wild. Another piece of housekeeping. I recently wrote a piece on Zelda Breath of the Wild and sort of my concerns for it, if you want to check that out. It's at bzgamers.com. It's in our BZG blog. I also did an audio version for it, so if you don't want to read like about 3 pages of like my feelings towards it, you can listen to it as well. So there you fucking go. Anyway, he writes, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is mixing up the series formula in several exciting ways, including the addition of voice acting, and producer Eiji Aonuma has come forward to explain why, for the first time, it's being incorporated into the franchise. Quote, "It's really difficult to leave an impression on players with just text." Aonuma told Polygon, going on to point out that not every piece of dialogue in the game will be voiced. There are, however, specific instances in which he wants to, quote, leave impressions on the users, unquote, and in using voice acting to achieve that. Yeah, that was something I did notice in the first couple of hours of gameplay. You meet this like big dude who like helps you out, and he doesn't speak at all, and then like Link doesn't speak at all or anything, and And when Aonuma first heard an actual human voice for her character early on in the game's development, he said it touched his heart and was really striking emotions. And I agree with that. Even, if you've read my piece, you know that I have a lot of grievances and concerns about this new Zelda. But that was one of the cool things of, like, in the trailer, it was like, open your eyes, Link, and all this, and I got chills, like, voice acting in a Zelda game. And I imagine a lot of, like, who's going to be speaking is Zelda herself, and maybe some other characters, maybe Ganon. I would say, like, probably those two characters are safe bets of, like, these people are going to talk, and it'd be interesting to see, like, Ganon, like, what Ganon sounds like, because the closest we've gotten is, like, Ocarina of Time, where he's like, ha 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 ha. So that's the closest we got with, like, what Ganon sounds like. So it would be interesting to see, like, what he sounds like. And I honestly think that the person saying "open your eyes" is Zelda. So that's another thing. And sort of unrelated with the voice acting, Aonuma also spoke to the inclusion of technology and sci-fi elements, noting that, quote, Link basically adventures through a ruined world, unquote, and he wanted to add technology as the opposite side of that. As such, he thought it would be interesting for Link to use technology to explore through this wild and ruined world, and figured that would add another layer of the game. And I do have a little concern. The big piece of technology is the Sheikah Slate. And that seems like you're a sort of one-stop shop for all of, like, sort of the relics and powers that you can find. Zelda was always really cool because you had to, like, go and there's still some pieces of this in Breath of the Wild, but you'd go and explore and find, like, each different relic, and each different relic had its own sort of power and use and was important in its own sort of right. And the Sheikah Shield, it's like you update it with new powers and shit, and that sort of just feels bland to me. It doesn't feel as creative. I appreciate what he's doing of, like, including technology into Zelda, and I think that's a really cool juxtaposition of, like, having technology in this sort of ruined, very basic world, and sort of having this mixture of technology and wildlife here in this game. So I appreciate what they're going for, and we've only seen 2% of the game, but so who knows? Like, if there's more to be seen, if they've got more up their sleeve. I hope they do. So Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild releases sometime in 2017 for both Wii U and NX. For more on Nintendo's blah 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 blah, wrapping up articles sort of stuff. And also confirmed, there might be some confusion on this, Pro controllers for the Wii U are compatible with Breath of the Wild, so you don't have to use the fucking tablet to play the game, because there are some games that are like that, where you have to use the tablet for this or whatever. So be excited for that. I'm excited for that, to fucking, not have to play on a tablet and whatnot. So very, very excited. It's nervous, but excited for Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Ladies and gentlemen, that was all the news that we had for today. But as you know, I added a new segment for every week called Don't Forget, where I remind you of all of the upcoming releases of video games and movies coming out this week, so you don't forget and you don't miss anything that you might be excited for. So don't forget, Independence Day Resurgence is out today. A little concerning. Let's actually check what the current Rotten Tomatoes score is. And I know for not everybody, scores are everything or whatever, but it's a good consensus of, like, what people are saying. Currently, Independence Day Resurgence is at 44%. A little disappointing. A lot of people I know who are really into Independence Day, like, really like it. They say it's, like, a lot of dumb, fun action, not as memorable as the first Independence Day. So I think that's what a lot of the critique is. It's like, it doesn't live up to the first Independence Day, but it's still good in its own right, in a way. So there's that, and then also Free State of Jones, which seems like a really cool movie with Matthew McConaughey, where he was in the Civil War. His character was fighting for the South, and then he sort of had moral issues with, like, what the South was doing and, like, what they were doing, and so he decided to make his own group to rebel against the South and all of this stuff. That right now is currently at an 18% on Rotten Tomatoes. A little disappointing. The trailer was really good and it was really well done. I still want to see it though, and then I'll probably be something like I watch later this year when it comes out on DVD, or I get a free download code for it or whatever. So that's a little disappointing. I really like Matthew McConaughey, and this really seems like almost like a fucking, like, Oscar sort of thing that they would look at, and it seems like they were trying to hit that, but I have no idea like what they're saying about the movie, so I have no idea what the bad things are about the movie. And then also the other big movie that's coming out, not big, but I think it needs attention. The other movie that's coming out is Swiss Army Man with Domhnall Gleeson, or no, not Domhnall Gleeson. I mix him and this other guy up. Paul Dano and Daniel Radcliffe, where Paul Dano is stranded on this island and he's about to commit suicide because he doesn't know how to get off this island. And then Daniel Radcliffe, who's a dead body, washes up onto the shore, and because of that he finds sort of a reason to live and a reason to escape off the island. And the trailer is really weird and whatnot, and it looks very artsy indie film, and it just looks really, really funny, and I'm really excited for it. Right now, currently at a 70%, which is what I expected, to be honest. I don't think this movie is going to be for everybody, but for some of, like, you know, weird indie movies with, you know, sort of quirky stuff, I think this will definitely be for you, and I'm really excited about that. So I think it's sort of reviewing how I expected it to, just because I don't think it's going to be for everybody. That was all the movies that are coming out that are out right now for this weekend for you to go see. The games that are coming out, the game that's coming out today, I don't have a score for it yet just because it hasn't been released, is Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympics. No score yet, but if you're excited for some Olympics in Rio with Mario and Sonic, then fucking good for you, man. Another Wii U game that's probably not that great. And then also coming this week on the 28th is Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens. I'm sure it's going to be good. I've yet to play the demo. Maybe by the time this video goes up, I'll check out the demo. But if you played a Lego game, this is probably what's going to be it. And it's going to be Star Wars. It's going to be... From the trailer that we saw specifically from E3, it seems like a lot of the voice acting is cut directly from the movie itself, which I think is actually really lazy for Lego games, because, you know, their Lego Marvel superheroes was really well done because it was its own story and there are actual voice actors like making this new story and whatnot. And a lot of the Lego movies that have been based off of, or a lot of the Lego games that have been based off of movies, cut the audio specifically from the movies. And I think, you know, you don't have to get the same actors to voice the characters, but you could have maybe made it feeling a little more authentic and put jokes into dialogue rather than all the slapstick stuff that they do in Lego games. So take that as you will. It's a Lego game. Check it out. I'm sure it'll be fine. So that's all the stuff that's coming out this week in video games and movies. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me this week for BZG News. Remember, don't forget, we have a special announcement video coming this Sunday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. And also, do I have anything else to say? I don't know if I have anything else to say. Let me think about it for a second. Anything exciting happening this week? Remember to check out Talking Shit episode 101. Some fair warning, I'll say this right now, in the last topic for episode 101 for the video version, in the last topic, the video cuts out in the middle of it. I just want to apologize ahead of time just because, you know, it happened. We're BZG, fucking technical issues almost every single week, something different. So just want to say, I just want to apologize for that. And also we have a special guest for this coming week, our good friend Fluffy Osmosis, who's like our honorary 5th member of BZG. He has finally returned. It's been like a year since he's been on Talking Shit. So, and it's a good episode. Check it out when it comes out. You can listen to it tomorrow if you're a Patreon supporter for just $1. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you next week for some more nerdy news. Remember, BCG News goes up every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Again, I hope to see you guys next week for all of the crazy, fucked up, nerdy news out there. But until then, stay nerdy. Thank you so much. Thank you. Also, shout out to Sean Pitts. I'm just going to shout out everybody. Shout out Danny Juarez. Shout out Henry Montiero. Shout out Hoop God. Shout out Hoop God. Shout out to you.